Okay. What number episode is this? Two something.
No, 258.
258. Main
Yes,
Chance podcast,
258, yeah.
episode 258. The real is back. The real is back. I am him.
Sorry, 259. My bad, my
Calm
bad.
down.
My bad, King.
My fault. Um, what was I gonna say? Where we at?
Intro.
Oh, intro. The real is back. The real is back. To
Come
them, I
on.
am him. Him and Neutron in the flesh. Himothy.
Yeah.
Uh, DK dancing. Watch your back. I'll continue to tell you guys every week if I have to. I'll pass it to my partner. Pause. Apparently.
Colson Lucy, Don Cole in the building, the one and only, aka L Coolins, aka C Note, aka Hollywood Cole, aka Dog Dad. Coming for your left ear, your right ear, surround sound, smart speakers, portable speakers, you name it. Guess what? We dare.
Facts.
Episode 259. Esh Giddy.
Before I get into my intros, yeah, I have a question.
Mm.
Is it wild, yeah, to call me preacher love?
No, it's only wild because you said it could be wild, basically.
Then I'm not taking the name.
Yeah, for
Anyways,
real.
it's Eman G45, G solid on my name, 45 is silent,
Come
Genghis
on.
Chibogwe, Prince of the East, R&B voice is present,
Mm-hmm.
Tinfoil Hat
Facts.
Eames,
Yes, sir.
Black Mamba Dove,
Frr.
Cheetah Yam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome once again. My God is better than your God. All the above. Praise the Most High. Let's get straight to it, man.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So first topic for today is Collins informing us about his time in Japan. How long was you there for?
So in total, 12 days. And
Oof, that was a stint.
boy, that was a long ass trip. And thing is, I've been on a few long trips now, but this is by far the longest trip I've ever been on, purely because a country like Japan, there's just so much to do and so much to
Mm,
explore. And most trips you go on for that long, you'd want to go like for like, it depends on what type of person you are when you vacate. Some people like to go just catch the sun and chill and relax, but this wasn't necessarily that type of holiday. Not in a bad way, but we wanted to explore
yeah.
it. So yeah, it was incredible. Long story short, one of the best places I've ever been. You two need to go at one stage in your life. It's
It
just
doesn't appeal to
different
me.
world. Why not?
I don't know. It's just not one of the places that's really attractive. There's just
Teach your
nothing
own.
there.
You're the only person that's told me that over the past 4 days, by the way.
Really.
Oh yeah.
I don't
And if
know.
someone gave me money to say who would be the one person, I would have put money down it to be you.
She said they don't want to go.
Not in a bad way. I just know you because you're my
Nah,
guy,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah, yeah, I hear it. I mean,
Um,
there's just nothing. But you know what? From the outside looking in, it looks like a great party, but it's not a party I need to go to. But I can
you,
see the appeal of it. Do you know what I
it's one
mean?
of them ones. I think if you go there, you'd change your mind. Purely because like sometimes we just know what we know, right? And you don't know
Mm,
until you don't. I know that sounds really like cryptic, but until you get there
mm.
and see it, you literally don't know. Even I didn't know really and truly. I had an idea of what it would be like, but
What were
until I
your
was there.
expectations?
Just like different like obviously different like culture, different manners, different ways
Mm,
of living. Which is what I obviously saw, but just to the extent where I just didn't think it'd be possible. Like I'll give you like some really small examples. So like let's say you're about to go on the tube. So as soon as we got there, got to the airport, went to go to get the fast train into from Tokyo to Osaka. As you're at the station, they have these markings on the floor, and each entrance to the train, people would like queue up.
okay.
And obviously, that's not even a thing here. Like where we're at is every man for themselves type vibes. Do you know what I
Oh,
mean?
what? So you have to queue up to exit the train?
You have to
Enter.
enter the train.
That would jar me.
Actually, no, there is. It's at Canary Wharf. Like
Really?
going home.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, fair
Like
enough. But
it was bad. Like one time, yeah, they were all queuing up. I just walked
mm.
straight past. They're all frowning on me. I'm like, bro, I don't know why you're queuing
Listen,
up,
I've
but
got
okay.
places to be in town. Time is money.
It's just like a manners thing. Like I think that is like an extension of how things are there. Like people are very courteous. People don't steal. The crime rate there is extremely low. I think the only
Mm.
crime that you'd probably see out there is like organized crime or the actual like, people who are doing the real drugs. But as far as like, let's say I was walking through this really busy part of Tokyo called Asakusa, where they have like this really cool temple. And as I was walking through the streets, there was like an iPhone 13 just chilling on a bench. And I was like, right, okay. And we had to go back that way about an hour or so later. And I walked past again and
It
the
was
phone
still
was
there.
still there. Yeah. Because obviously out there, stealing is frowned upon. It's just not a thing. Whereas here, that would have been
That would
flipped
have been gone. Listen,
before it
in my younger
was
days,
fine.
all I need to say is, you know his initials when I say this. AC would have had that in a minute. It would have been done. It would have been at
Yeah,
Lakeside.
yeah.
I would have been at CEX. No, no long thing. Um,
That's insane.
but yeah, like these are all just small minor details, but in the grand scheme of things, like the vibe was incredible. Like the actual like scenery was beautiful. Like the sightseeing, the
Mm.
parts of like Kyoto that have like the traditional Japanese feel were just incredible just to see in person and like genuinely breathtaking.
Did you see
Um,
the fucking what's it called? The Mario Kart in real life?
yes, bare people did it. We didn't do it because I just felt like I don't really
It's
feel
played
the
out.
appeal. And plus,
Mm.
you're not really. Thing is, the people there, the locals, don't love it because you're literally driving at about 30 miles per hour, maybe less, through the streets. Where the streets, obviously, you can go faster than that, so it causes traffic.
Oh no, that is jarring. Who's
The
okayed
most part,
this?
I weren't that bothered. Sorry.
Who's okayed this?
I don't know. It became a thing to the point where it's super popular, man. Like I was walking through Shibuya and like within like an hour, I'd seen like five groups of people doing it. Not everybody was wearing like the outfits and whatnot, but it was still the same concept. So it's become really
Mm.
popular there. But
Okay, fair enough.
I didn't really see the appeal. I'm not too bothered to have to do all that just to drive in the streets.
No,
Um,
I hear it. So what was
but
the highlight of the trip for you then?
So on the very last day, so by the way, like Kyoto as a city, incredible city. It's just got a good balance of the two. So that's probably my highlight actually.
Mm.
Kyoto's got like the natural beauty and the natural thing you associate when you think of Japan, but also like still quite like diverse and
What's their
um
technology on?
A1,
Their
A1,
leaps and bounds ahead of us,
A1.
or
Like I'm trying to think of specific things about their technology where it was like you know what? I don't know. It's probably the same. It's more just like I think the way they just do things efficiently. Like you order something and it's done with like really quickly. You get
mm,
on the trains, there's no delays. People are really like courteous to let you on and off. Like it's a very efficient way of living. You go
mm,
into like one of their coffee shops and like that one thing I noticed about their shop space. Let's say you go into an independent store, the square foot of the store is no bigger than like my I'm trying to think of a good enough uh comparison. Let's say you know your room back in Chafford.
yeah,
It would
yeah,
be bigger than that, no
Yeah.
bigger than that. And you're thinking, hang on a minute, this store is so small. But what they'll do is like one half of the store will have like three, or let's say one half of the restaurant will have like three or four chefs just throwing
mm,
down in the tiniest amount of space. And behind them, there'll be like seven chairs for food, for people for food. But the way they do it, you'll be eating and then they'll get rid of you in your own time, obviously. But then you look
yeah,
outside, there'll be a long queue, but it'll be constantly busy. And like it makes you think like London is obviously a small city and things are quite compact, but the way
mm,
Tokyo is, like they literally live on top of each other, bro. Like it is like it's like imagine Times Square or maybe a better example, Piccadilly Circus,
yeah.
steroids, bro. Like walking through like Shinjuku and Shibuya is like so I've never seen anything like that in my life. Like
No,
it's
that must not be fun though. That the ick that would give me just from people on top of each other
yeah,
trying to get through the city, the streets. No, thank you.
it's an experience, but I fucking loved it. Because I mean, it's not like every day, right? It's not your everyday occurrence, but to just be in there and embrace it, it was just awesome. But my highlight, sorry, was we went to the Tokyo Sky Tree on the last day, and like basically it's like I'm trying to think of an equivalent. Imagine going to like the Shard where you
Mm,
have the view of like the city. So we went there during sunset, and in the distance you could see like Mount Fuji, and it was
mm.
like sunset, and it just looked incredible. Like I've never seen anything like it.
I mean, it sounds like a good
Yeah,
experience. I'm glad you enjoyed it and
oh, it's amazing, man.
got
You
what
guys
from
gotta
it.
go.
No, thank you. You know the places I'm trying to, you know the vibes.
Where do you want to go? That's the real question. If you don't want to go to Tokyo, where
Yeah.
do you want to go?
I really want to go to Atlanta. Um,
Yeah.
I want to go to New York, and then I want to
Oh.
do Vegas and
Well, funny
Australia.
enough, the things you don't like about Tokyo, you're going to experience in New York, and worse.
Listen, let's
Because
get cracking.
New York is yeah, you'll see when you go there anyway.
I'll do what you did though when you went to New York. You didn't go for particularly long. It was like 4 days, isn't it?
Yeah, true, true.
So
But
I'll
I kind
probably
of
do
wish
the
I went
same.
there for a little bit longer, you know. I think when you're there, you'll be like, oh man, like I only got to go to Brooklyn for like 2 hours. I didn't even get a chance to even explore Brooklyn because of how big
Mm,
the main city, sorry, of Manhattan is. It's so
yeah,
condensed. So I would advise you to go for at least like four, maybe five max. Don't go for
yeah.
more.
Well, it's expensive as well. That's what I was going to ask. Is Japan expensive?
Cheap, bro. So the
Really?
yen is the
Oh
yen is really
yeah.
weak. The yen is really weak. So I got my laptop out there and it was basically half the price I'd pay to get it here.
What? That's crazy.
Okay.
It's
That's
mad.
insane. Clever, clever. I'll rate it still.
Um,
Do you go to like any specific spots that you can liken to London? Um, I would say, well, actually, you know what? You can also go there because you can go to like New York as well, just because you've been to New York.
yeah, like you can kind of. So Shibuya is kind of like imagine this is gonna make Debbie throw up. Imagine like the aesthetic of Shoreditch slash Camden mixed with Piccadilly Circus. So it's like the hipster village, but when
Yeah,
you look
that's
at it, it's very much like you stepped into Piccadilly Circus.
no, that's gross.
Whereas Shinjuku is more like Piccadilly Circus because obviously like it's very much in your face. There's all the clubs, there's all
Mm.
touristy traps, there's all the prostitutes. It's very much
Huh?
like who? It's very much like you're walking through that area of town. Um Asakusa is probably a bit
Did you
more
go? Did you guys go
traditional.
out there like for a night out?
Nah, nah, nah. We went like went to like a few, like one or two bars, but I don't know. I thought about going out, but I was just like, why would I even do this? My boy who I went with did go out there and he said it was cool. But
Mm,
I think for the most part, when it's like you're going away with your wifey as well, it's kind of a bit like,
yeah, yeah. No, I hear it.
what are we really on? Because every time we
Yeah.
go back home, because there'll be really long days, loads of walking, it's 35 degrees heat. You get back
Jeez.
after a long day, and like, do I really want to go back out? No.
No, forget
Mm.
that. Okay, fair enough. And
Um, but yeah.
that must have been so spendy. I'm just trying to think because you went to like three cities. Did you have to get accommodation in each city?
Yeah, accommodation wasn't too bad. And travel was actually pretty cheap. So to get between the cities, you'd use the bullet train, and that cost like 150
Okay.
returns from Tokyo. And if you put that into context, imagine getting a train from London to Manchester to Newcastle and back. That would cost you like at
I
least,
don't even want to think about it.
Lord knows how much that cost you.
Yeah.
And is that bullet train really bulleting?
Bro, you know that movie with Brad Pitt? They weren't lying. Them issues is flying.
They really said, are they telling people to sit down in their seat?
No, you know what? It was calm.
Is it
Nah,
like
it
a
wasn't.
plane? Is it like a plane in the sense of a plane is going at like 600 miles per hour, but you don't feel it going at 600 miles per hour, if that makes sense.
Nah, when you look out the window, you're like, yeah,
Oh,
if I was to t put my head out,
reverse flash.
you may not survive. It's one of them
Okay.
ones.
Say less. What an
Mate,
experience.
mate, that's wild.
You guys have to go, man. I kind of it's one of them ones where like obviously like our group we kind of got to the point where we started traveling later compared to like the white guys in Essex or other groups in general.
Mm.
It would be nice to. I mean, we still got time. We're still young brothers. We
100,
can still go see the world. Let's not put negative energy into the air. But long story short, don't write it off because it was awesome, man. I've never seen anything like that. And
Okay.
also, funnily enough, I want to say a quick shout out to Eman. So halfway through my trip, Eman messages me like, "Get me beef. What was it? Beef tallow? No,
So it's Kobe
Wagyu."
Wagyu beef tallow. And the reason why I say it is because one, you're there in the country,
No, I know, I know, I know.
and two, like beef tallow, like is very accessible in the UK, but is actually accessible everywhere around the world. But Wagyu, Kobe Wagyu, that's specific. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, the
Mm.
specifics is what cost you because yeah, you're right. You could find the normal tallow, but everywhere I went, they were like, nah, I don't think I think there's specific types of not butchers, but there's certain types of shops they have where they sell those type of things where like the typical convenience stores or like their supermarkets, they don't have them readily stocked. So I think it's
yeah,
quite like it's not rare, but it's not like you can go to like how can I
You
think
can't
of
go
it?
to Tesco's and pick it up.
Tesco.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's just not that easily accessible. And
That's
I was, the amount of times I was lost there trying to figure things out and talking to people who had just only spoke Japanese.
no, I
Them man,
can't blame them.
like beef tallow, like what? I'm like, oh, man, never mind. But yeah, it's just when I got the message, I was like, I'm out on the other side of the world, and this guy wants me to get Wagyu beef tallow.
Hey, listen, if you don't ask, you don't get. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear it still. It's just funny. But yeah, great trip. And yeah, I'm back to the bad vibes of the UK.
Hey, welcome. I'm glad to have you back.
Welcome back, brother.
All right. Well, thank you for letting us in on your trip. Sounds
Yeah,
like it was
good.
exciting.
I do have to ask one question. Was there any racial experience? It doesn't have to be negative. It could be positive. Was there any racial experience in itself?
Nah, I mean we got stared at loads, but that's kind of the going rate, to be fair. We didn't
Mm.
really didn't really expect anything less than that. What was interesting was in Tokyo, in
They asked you to rap.
stupid, the busiest. Nah, they didn't do all that. I wish.
That's a
Um,
16.
there were bare uncles,
Really?
bare uncles, bare.
And
So
that's is that
and
where you
I'm
said the
not
night
and
out
I'm
was?
not over exaggerating the bear. I mean bear. But they're all doing one specific thing. So basically, there's this like little district where there's loads of clubs, loads of bars,
Oh,
and like I shit you not, they were just so like, but they're not. I couldn't tell what country they were from. So I was really curious. I probably should have been more like self. I could have been more like nicer about it. Obviously, I was kind of being a bit anti. Plus, I had the missus, so I didn't really want any conversations or anything to be said. But
Mm,
like when I heard them speak in their natural tongue, I couldn't tell where they're from Africa. Like I just
hmm.
wasn't sure what country. Like it was definitely not Nigeria because I'd know straight away. But I'm so curious to know how they managed to get there because I shit you not, there were countless.
That's insane. Was it like was it like looky?
It's more like, yeah, come here, like, well, I'll take you to like the club, or I'll take you to this bar, and I assume they get like tips for if they bring
Yeah, I
punch.
thought as much. Black people are everywhere, man.
I
That
just
is
couldn't
insane.
believe how many there were, bro. Like, I was genuinely shocked.
Because they generally have
You
no.
know, you know what's mad? It's okay. So I went to Magaluf, and we didn't know what to call them. But the fact that people call them looky, like I just know immediately who they are, what they're doing, and what they're trying to do, like what they're trying to sell.
Hmm.
So the fact that you just mentioned looky, it's like okay, cool. Like we already just stereotype that exact people what they're doing. But that's so
But they're
interesting.
everywhere. Because when we went for Jay Stag and they were there,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
trying to get people into the clubs. So
Hmm.
it's crazy. Listen, we're always gonna find a way to get a bag, but uncles,
I
this ain't
just,
it.
I
How did
just,
you
I just
get
want to
there?
know what the journey was like to get to Tokyo, like specifically. Like, how does that happen? Like, What country does this? Where does the trade happen? I'm just curious. I really should ask the question because
Oh,
Where do
it's
they live?
I
God,
think it's there's a massive population of Ugandans in Japan. And I think that's because of Scully. Scully mentioned Uganda.
really?
Oh, you see,
Yeah. And it's not to like assume that those men are them, but I'm just saying that that's like there's a
Probably was.
massive population of Ugandans in Japan. And then also as well, like Japan's going through a crisis where they need a lot of young people. So they're obviously trying to look
mm,
for people, but because of the language barrier, it's a bit of a problem. But yeah.
wow. That's going to be interesting in 15 years then. Shinji
Well, they're trying to do
Farahim,
it
let's go.
now. Yeah. Because it's an aging population and it's like they're trying to prevent a crisis. So whoever can come, bring them along in it.
Listen,
I
man,
hear.
moving like Bow Wow in Tokyo Drift. You know what DK stands for?
Drift.
Drift King? I don't know. Donkey Kong?
That film was dumb. Elite, but dumb. When Bauer goes into the lift and he's with the things.
Listen, he was having a whale of a time.
For real. Anyway, um, next topic for the day, Diddy's ongoing situation. Um, this is fascinating to me. I don't know why. Like, I've been really enamored with it. I just think, what a fall from grace is the only way I can put it. The more you dive into it, pause. Um, the more, uh, the more crazy the case is. But yeah, he's in trouble,
So,
by the way. He's
do we
looking at 50
start
years.
with 1,000 bottles of baby oil?
What could that even be needed for? Do you know how many bottles that is? That's insane. There was a picture or a video of King Combs playing basketball, and he's in a basketball court, and there's beds in this NBA regulated basketball court as King Combs is doing an interview. What?
Yeah.
Why do you need beds?
He-
He was ready to go at any moment in time. It's nasty, man. The lack of
Whatever
What I'm
they're
gonna
accused
say
self-control.
him
is
of.
this, yeah. What I'm gonna say is this. I have, first of all, I think Diddy is a musical genius, and a lot of people idolized him because of the character he created. Like Diddy, just the character he created. Um, and I think what he did was amazing in terms of the music, the image, and to a certain extent, um the idolization of like being a hip hop mogul to a certain extent, having women, having cars, having money, so on and so forth. I think what he did in terms of creating the image itself was absolutely amazing and was very much an inspiration to a lot of people. However, let's just go back into it and just say he's a madman,
Yeah, you gotta lock
an
him up.
absolute madman. Well, they have locked him up. Basically, they've denied his bail twice. So, and it's not because he's a flight risk, but it's due to the fact that he could manipulate witnesses,
Mm.
um, the jury. He can pull a lot of strings with the money that he has. He can pull a lot of strings, and then also the footage that he has of the freak offs.
Damn.
What do you think he's gonna
Yeah.
do with it? He's gonna tamper with it, or
Um.
it's crazy that he has the footage still. Like that's insane. But he's
Yeah.
been weird, which is interesting. I guess we might have been a bit too young to really pay attention and take it in. But
Was.
yeah, I know. Anytime you talk about him, it's just mad. You can't say anything. No Diddy.
No Diddy. No
But
Diddy.
um, with his case, just looking back on old footage as well, you could see how weird he was and social interactions. I came across the Breakfast Club. interview that he had, and Charlemagne played in the clip of when Diddy said, "I like it when you're scrambling and straight." What the hell? What
And he
the
said,
hell?
"Hey man."
Eyes, eyes,
He
eyes.
didn't know how to respond. He just said, "Hey man."
He heard that and was like, "Whoa, that's even a pause for me." He said to 50, "Let me take you shopping." 50 was disgusted when he heard that.
50
Do you know
knew
how?
straight away.
That's
50,
crazy.
50 been new.
I watched a really good documentary on YouTube about their beef, and yeah, 50 is yeah, he's been new and he's had the tapes. He had a tape of Cassie fairly early on. Um, so he look, people can say why didn't certain people come out, but I think it's such a touchy case, and it goes back to he's got so many fingers in. Oh man, he's got so many. He's everywhere, so it makes it very hard to go against him.
He's got so many fingers and thighs. It's crazy. That is incredible.
You can't talk about him and just not. It's just a walking disaster.
Oh, Debbie. Oh. But
Honestly, I'm trying.
but you know
You-
what? Yeah, you remember when I was talking about how like I remember saying this like in Hollywood they have to do certain things and red tear tear, and then like
Mm,
you can't progress unless you participate in so on and so forth. Everyone's looking at Diddy as if he's like the head honcho, and the on the previous episode, I don't know if it's 257 or 256. I mentioned a white guy that was Diddy's mentor. His name is Clive Davis,
yes,
and he was a person that kind of brought him in and then showcased. Apparently, that's the person that get like brought him into this sort of lifestyle of free
he funded
cross
Bad Boy in the
orgies.
early stages.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But what I do want to say is that people are just saying, "Oh yeah, it must be Diddy, bro." There's millions of people currently at the moment who are still participating in this. It doesn't even necessarily have to be in the United States. It could be all over the world, where like you know, and let's just use myself as an example. I don't participate in this. I've never done this. I've been saying this on record. I was invited and I never went. So I'm just saying that as a disclaimer. But let's just use me as an example. I want to have a party, an orgy. I invite 60, no, I invite 60 women, IG models. Yeah. Then there's another 40 escorts. Yeah. All buffetings and whatever the case is. I invite a bunch of guys, bankers, businessmen, entrepreneurs, influencers, males, or whatever the case is, women, everybody can come. And then we have a party. And then that party obviously has the after party. And then there's certain rooms where certain things can be facilitated. That's a common thing. However, Diddy's a wild guy. He's a bad boy.
You can't live life like that. It will just catch up with you. There's
Like even
that's
even
why
on the
he's in the
document
situation he's
itself,
in now.
even on the document itself, it said like they would have IVs like on standby. Like forget the 1,000 bottles of baby oil. IVs on standby so people can like get better really quickly and then go again. Like they'll be on
Huh?
a marathon.
Yeah,
Like
that's nasty
that's
work. That's
crazy.
nasty work. Ah,
Like respectfully, some people have two nuts. That's it. And what I mean by that is like you might have a good
that's the most insane
30,
thing you've
like
ever
if you
said.
really, really want to
Yeah,
go
it
like
definitely is.
great.
I don't, we can't escape past that one, bro.
Yeah, no, pause. Pause.
What?
But listen, not like I'm talking about in general, yeah. Like really and truly, most people would have maybe two nuts, one good 30-minute session if they really want to take a 30-minute session, and then another 5-minute session straight after.
What are you
30
talking about?
hours is insane.
30 hours. Hey, hey, hey.
Nah, that's insane. I actually can't believe you said that.
Bro, that's what it says in the document. Like people will
Oh,
go for
word.
30 hours. Yeah, bro. And it'll be like, that's crazy. And like the way he would drug people with like he'll have like a special drink where it has ketamine, it has cocaine, it has um other drugs like a cocktail. And like you take this drink, you're going the whole way. And you are just consistent in like the act that you're doing. And it's like, this
Nah,
can't
that's
be
crazy.
real.
Someone must have died on his watch. Has to.
Oh yeah,
Because
I
what?
mean, what's his name? The information where I can't recall like the information, but there was a lawsuit after Cassie's one where the guy came out and said like someone died and got cleaned up real quick.
Oh shit.
Um
That
yeah,
doesn't surprise
so
me.
but that wasn't on an FO, that was just like a quick and then that's it. But ultimately, bro, like women who are going for 30 hours, it's not humanely impossible. It's not
Nah.
humanely possible. So like you have to like and then he's like taking these women from this place. He might invite them from one place and then transport them to another place. Now you're being trafficked from state to state. Now you just committed a crime. Then you have all the drugs.
Lock him up.
You think he's
I've
gonna
worked in a
snitch?
warehouse. I've worked in a warehouse. Yeah. I've never seen a pallet of 1,000 baby oils. That don't make sense to me. Like I don't know
No.
what that looks like.
Where did you even get that from? 1,000
Bro,
anything's insane.
Sounds like
you
some
don't go
Costco
to a
shit.
shop and then order 1,000 baby oils. Like imagine
I don't
walking
even
up to
think that's
Tesco,
possible.
11:50 p.m. I need 1,000 baby oils. That don't make sense.
Mm. He's a wild boy. Lock him up. Just for that alone. I think that's a crime in and of itself.
Do you guys think he's gonna snitch?
Oh, he's snitching. He's singing.
He
I
has the
would say.
power to bring down the whole music industry because
Yeah,
everyone was there, and
still.
so many people have blase mentioned they've gone to his party. So you can't tell me so many people are going down if he snitches.
Yeah, I think he's gonna snitch still.
I mean, listen, fair enough. Take the whole game down with you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
listen, if he doesn't see the light of day again, I think it's for
It'd
the
be a
right
gun,
reason still.
100%. Yeah, he's gone. He's out of here. Uh, We can't support that.
Respectfully, respectfully, if I'm being if I know that the feds are looking for me and I'm Diddy, I'm doing a Russell.
Well, I'm surprised he didn't do that, but I think there were two on to him because he did
Yeah,
try to
I'm
leave.
surprised. He had a jet. He could have just gone.
Mm,
He really could have just gone and just said bye.
But isn't it different because it's a federal
Yeah,
case?
but I'm talking about leaving the country to a place where there's no extradition.
Oh, I see.
no, but they would have
Yeah,
been
like
on him. I don't know.
Maybe he thought he wasn't that deep,
There's that. I think so as well.
but
I
hey,
mean, you've got to be arrogant to live that life and think and get away with it for that long. There's probably 20 years of evidence. You
isn't it
just
like
think, oh, this is a minor. I can get past this. Look up the lawyers I've got. It's nothing. I'll be out in 2 weeks.
he did the same
but
thing when the Cassie thing came out? He was like, but what before it got like fully confirmed, he was on Instagram like, yeah, like I'm gonna clear these accusations, and he was just saying like, oh, I was like basically bullshitting, and then
Mm.
it came out
yeah,
3 weeks later that he did all of it and then some. So
Well, he's got
he
to go to jail for the Cassie thing
clearly
alone.
got some kind of like arrogance and ego about him that I think he's not gonna get
Yeah, you
caught.
have to. You have to. He is.
no, but he was panicking though, because he called. I think maybe a day or two before he got arrested, like this week. He called up a woman 54 times.
To say
Like,
what?
bro, like listen, I've called up someone 3, 4 times. Yeah, because I really need to talk to them.
Mm.
54, that's something else.
Guess
That's
That's
you
insane.
something
yeah,
else.
boom.
Yeah. Well, I think
So
long and
he's
short,
panicking, but yeah, if I was him, I would have done extradition. I would have just gone out of the country and then just stay out of the country. Access my P's however I need to access, stay out of the country. But then
Mm.
again, what I'm saying is what some people do. So these FOs and all these other things, they're still going to continue and they're still going to be whatever. And the thing is, let's say he leaves the country, Diddy's still Diddy. In the aspect of, yes, he's been tarnished, but that glow is still there. So that's all I can say about it. But it's, you know what, he needs to go to prison and he needs to face time. And it's one of them ones where I think he just needs to see life. Whether he snitches or not, he needs to see life.
Yeah, yeah. He has to
Yeah.
be held accountable for his crimes, of which it sounds like there are many, and it doesn't sound like he's a good person. And you don't need people like that operating in society because if you give them another chance, they'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Next topic is Kendrick. Got to talk about, I guess, in relation to him. We missed the Super Bowl announcement. He then dropped "Watch the Party Die," and then in all of that, Lil Wayne was upset that he wasn't picked for the Super Bowl. You can feel how you feel about that, but definitely worth discussing.
How do you feel about that? Like Wayne not being picked?
It didn't. It was. I don't know why there was the initial uproar anyway, because the Super Bowl's never been based on it's in your hometown, so you get it. I think him and Jay-Z are friends, so I think he was possibly promised something, but I agree with a lot of the conversation that's been around. I don't know if he could do the 13 minutes that will be asked of him. He wanted to do it on his own. Truthfully, I don't know if he could. I mean, Wayne and Friends, that's fun. That could have been a great 13 minutes, but on his own, no way. You only have to look at his performance at WrestleMania 40. Awful. Um, he's he's a drug addict. He's a drug addict, and that's no secret. Hey, listen, have fun. Lord knows I like to, but all of these things stacked against him getting it. Um, been listening to JBP's opinion on it, and I agree with a lot of the things that's been thrown around in relation to that. He just wouldn't have been the right choice. Kendrick makes sense, but I have a rant to go on about Kendrick.
Go ahead. I'm interested
Um,
to hear because it might align with what I want to say.
he gained a fan in me, and I just feel so let down and disappointed. First
How
of
come?
all, um, not disappointed. The more I have time to sit with Watch the Party Die, I just think there's no accountability and there's no inward looking. He's looking at the scene, and this has been my problem with him for a long time. Watch the Party Die, I feel like he's rapping at me, which has been an issue that I've had with him for a while. Um, I just feel like he has this way of talking of, listen, hey everyone, I'm the best. Listen to me, you know, whatever they're doing over there, it doesn't matter because I'm great and I'm going to tell you how you should move. And these are your problems. Like, bro, you're part of the problem. You went away for 5 years. It's like you have an issue with the scene. The Drake that we now have is something that's festered because you went away for so long. Drake had no competition. Whether you want, however you feel about that, but your disappearance for 5 years has led to the current state of hip hop because you're an important part of that. You need to take some accountability in that. You not being in the game has had its impact. You can't ignore that. You just can't. So also the whole thing with no round twos, I've got the comprehension to say this isn't a Drake's or this. But if the shoe fits, wear it. Why are you going back to this energy? Why are you going back to this after it was done? I just felt like as good as the song is, I see what he's trying to say. I don't know. It came off preachy, is how I felt. After saying no round twos, you delve back into that whole energy. You're saying there's an issue with the scene, which there is. You're part of it. Your disappearance for 5 years is part of what's caused this. It's like a mum going away and leaving her naughty children and then coming back and being like, God, oh my gosh, they left the place in a mess. Yes, because you left them, and that's why we've got the situation we're in now. I just think sometimes he just rubs me up the wrong way, and it's a shame because he I just got back on board, and then this is he just does everything I dislike about him.
Interesting.
Very
Um,
interesting.
I agree with a fair I agree with a fair bit of what you said. Um, I think
Oh
from
yeah,
my
just before,
perspective,
sorry to cut you off. Also, you've just had the Super Bowl announced. Just enjoy it. There's no need for that. Like you're just dipping back into this energy. Yeah, that was also it. I just don't like after you just had this momentous occasion. Don't muddy that water or go back into negative energy. Just go on your run and let's see you smash at the Super Bowl. But yeah, that's it for me.
um, I feel like I'm in a bit of a weird space being a Kendrick fan because I've been a fan since the beginning. Well, not the
Mm,
beginning, but very early on, I could say. And like all the reasons why I loved Kendrick back in the day, and Eman, you could probably attest to this. A lot of the things we saw about him back in the day, we've known he's been about it for a long time. And I think only now, funnily enough, even though he's given us enough projects to kind of show it to people, now that he's caught the body, I feel like it's given people who weren't Kendrick fans an impetus to be like, oh, raw, like he does this, he does that. But I think my whole thing was he's always done this. I just think people just didn't really give it the attention, rightly or wrongly, it deserved back then. But anyway, that's just like a minor gripe. My thing with him is this, and it kind of ties into what you said, Demi. I did wish the approach for the new song a different angle. I really liked the snippet at the beginning of Not Like Us. I really
mm,
wanted him to kind of just lean into the West Coastisms and give us a bit of more of a like bit more playful vibes, bit more versatility. I like the message behind, I think I said this in the chat, right? I like the message behind what he was trying to say because what he's saying is right.
yeah.
But I don't know if that is what you want to do in the lead up to the Super Bowl where you're going to be on the Jumbotron. And that leads to my second point where I really don't want to say this, but it's just me being honest. I, I like the fact that Kendrick is headlining the Super Bowl, and I think he deserves it. Do I think Kendrick Lamar is, and obviously I know that Jay-Z's involvement in it now is kind of made it easier, or it's the idea of it is to make it more accessible to newer artists and artists that
Mm,
should kind of have that acclaim quicker, because obviously it takes some of the artists we've known longer to get to the Super Bowl stage than they probably should. But back to my point, I don't know if Kendrick, in fact, I know Kendrick isn't a superstar act. And I don't think he has superstar anthems to do something as to the magnitude of the Super Bowl. I'm not saying he doesn't have hits because he does. And I think the year he's had has been really incredible. We've not seen anything
mm,
like this for a while. I just think the choosing Kendrick to me looks more like a accumulation of the beef and the year he's had rather than the career he's had. If he had got this off of the strength of Mr. Morale, I'd be like, cool, I kind of get it because
off the strength of missing morale.
let me land. It's not because I know you don't like the album, but it's more just because he's back and it's like a whole body of work. It's a whole rollout. It's I'm back. I've done this massive tour for 2 years. I'm trying to reclaim the limelight. I kind of get it, but just being off the strength of the beef, it makes me feel like someone just hates Drake. Now,
Oh,
obviously, Drake,
that's for sure.
some
That's for sure.
now obviously Drake has like declined it in the past, which I think obviously is true. And if you want to contest that, then whatever. But I just think it's been given for the wrong it's been given to the right guy debatably at the wrong time for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. That's just me being
Mm,
honest. But and again, I preface that with the fact that I've watched this guy's career. I just don't think it. I don't know. With the acts that have done the Super Bowl. You look at all the other hip hop acts and the catalogs that they have. I'm not saying Kendrick hasn't got a good catalog, but I'm just talking about hits. I'm talking about the seven. How many million people watch the Super Bowl? Something stupid like
Mm,
in the hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
They're gonna know Lose Yourself. They're gonna know um all of Rihanna's hits. They're gonna know Bruno Mars. They're not gonna know Swimming Pools. And it's not a bad thing they don't know it, but they're just not gonna know it. Then
mm.
they might know Humble, and they will know Not Like Us. Other than that, I don't think I don't know. Maybe I'm not giving him enough credit, but I just don't feel like it's a
They would have done the maths on this though, because he's got the highest touring hip hop tour in history. I think I'm not
nah,
sure if that
That's Drake
it's
still.
gone back to Drake with
Would you like a tour? He's
oh,
got
okay.
he's got like the second, I think. But
Eve
obviously it's
30
recent
second, yeah.
times.
That's a monumental achievement. So
I just don't think he's I can't really put it into words. I just don't think he is the one to well, it's funny. You know how we are talking about how Drake, well, you said that Drake had been ja ruled by 50.
yeah, go on.
Jake, I was trying to say Drake,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
thing
yeah.
that's happened to Drake is what happened with 50 and Ja Rule. I think about that statement a lot, and I think the reason why I vehemently disagree with it, and it kind of ties into this, is that the reason why the Ja Rule and the 50 thing was so prominent is because 50 was 50, and 50 was so popular, and people loved him so much, and he kind of replaced Ja Rule and then some. I'm not saying
Mm,
they're similar artists. I'm just saying the magnitude of what 50 was he obliterated Ja Rule. I think with Kendrick is so not Drake that it just doesn't feel like and Kendrick is blatantly not wanting to be Drake, which is a good thing, obviously, because
mm.
it's authentically himself. I don't think it it would take a Drake to get rid of a Drake.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean? Like it would take somebody who'd want to not be like Drake himself, because the character, obviously, we've questioned him for a minute. I'm just saying someone of that magnitude, you need to kill the idea of it. And I just don't think Kendrick has not by
So
like to be. He doesn't have that superstar persona about him.
Mm.
I think he's done a
You know?
pretty good job though,
And what do you mean?
in terms of the public opinion. That's all they wanted to do. The public opinion on Drake has changed massively. People said he went into this thinking he was a face, which in wrestling is a good guy, when he was actually the heel, which is the bad guy. I don't think he knew that, and the public perception, I feel like, has changed massively on him. You can even see from the performance in the charts. You can go through how he's released it. It's weird, but I feel like he's taken a massive hit.
But it's
Like,
not enough. It's not enough to be. My point is, it's not enough to be Ja Ruled, because
but
Oh yeah,
to be
yeah.
Ja Ruled, it means that you no longer exist. And as
I don't
far
know
as
if
I'm
it's
concerned, as far as I can see it, I think yes, in the US you can make and in the culture, Drake's name won't be the same. But I'm not. It's not. It's what Eman said in the chat. Drake is a multi-generational artist. Whether
I
we like
see,
him
yeah.
or not, you can't eradicate him. And I don't want to go back to the beef thing. It's more just about the Super Bowl thing. My biggest gripe.
Mm,
I have a more bigger gripe about the Super Bowl than I do with the song, because I just think the Super Bowl. I just don't think it suits him. I just don't
mm,
think it suits him. Maybe that's just me, and I like the way he's kind of created his lane for himself. I just don't think if this year happened, he wouldn't have done it.
no, no, you got it
You
off
know
the
what I
strength
mean?
of that. But then
Just
you
not
take
him.
the opportunities that come to you. I think I just have
It'd be
my
cool to
eyes.
see. It'll be nice. It'll be cool to see, because I know he'll smash it and he's a good performer. But I just don't
Mm.
think people are gonna walk away from it. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm being too
Mm,
pessimistic about him.
My thing is this, isn't it? Firstly, I want to say this run will never be repeated in history at
100.
any given point, because you can't. just pop up from nowhere on Future's album in the first quarter. Then beef a guy in the second quarter. Then have an amazing situation and then announce it and then announce what's it, the Super Bowl in the third quarter. Brother, this run in itself, as a Kendrick fan, this is insane. This is
It is.
just beyond. This is beyond amazing. It just looks like top tier. I'm really, really him, and you can't mess with me. Now, that being said, the Super Bowl aspect, I do agree with Collins because when I think about the Super Bowl, I think about to a certain aspect like legacy acts. Like
Mhm.
you would see somebody like Wayne on the stage. However, Wayne is not. He's not in his top. He's not in his top form. Um, and on Demi's point on him being a drug addict, I don't think he's a drug addict now. I think he's very clean and very clear at this current point in
Mm,
time. So to remove that aspect, but Wayne right now hasn't showcased any way, shape, or form that he is of the ilk of a top performer at this current moment in time.
agreed.
Um, so yeah, that's one point. Um, but back on to Kendrick Lamar, I've always seen the Super Bowl somewhat as a legacy act, like Rihanna, for example. Rihanna hasn't released whatever for a couple of years now. Dr. Dre, he ain't released nothing in how many years he's been there. Usher, yes, he's being amazing. Yes, he's doing a lot of things and he's still releasing a lot of music, but he's not like, I don't want to say, like right now, people would listen to Drake, Future. Like he's not in the top tier of listenership right now. However, he's still a legacy act. And though Rihanna is a mega, mega star, I don't see, like, I see these guys as like the mega
Contemporary
stars.
artist.
As Collins was saying, he's the mega stars. So Kendrick Lamar this year, if anything, has probably showcased that yes, he is number one. He is top tier in terms of everything he's done this year. However, to Collins's point, if there was no beef, I don't think he would have got this opportunity. Um, Even the Mr. Morales situation, I think he's done absolutely amazing stuff. However, I have to agree with Collins. Without the beef, I don't think he would have got this position personally.
No.
Um, and that's all I've got to say
What do
about
you think of the
the
song,
Super
Eman?
Bowl. He's right, but I was watching a video and actually no, that's for really another conversation in itself because that's like a really, 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 really in-depth topic. But I think the song is amazing, personally. Um, I think it gets straight to the point. It's not really a diss. It's more of a reference to the situation that happened with him and Drake
Mm,
in this year, but it's not really a diss. Um, and the message is somewhat of the same thing that he's been saying for most of the time. I just think with Black Air Force Ones, it just makes a lot more sense. And then also to the announcement with Universal Group and Meta, it's kind of like making a lot of sense on why he would drop it on
Instagram.
Facebook rather than, sorry, not Facebook, on Instagram rather than just on YouTube, like with 616, where he dropped that on YouTube. No, he didn't drop that on YouTube, did he?
Yeah, he did. No,
Yeah.
Euphoria.
No, Euphoria and Meet the Grahams, but 616 he dropped that on Instagram. So there is some sort of in industry play behind the scenes that he probably knows that not a lot of people do know, and
100.
that's absolutely fine because you have to be in the know, of course, to make money to stay relevant and so on and so forth. But the fact that Kendrick Lamar has basically showcased his relevance is amazing and it's awesome. Congratulations to him and actually getting the Super Bowl. Do I think he's going to have an amazing performance? I believe that this will not be forgettable. This will not
It'll
be
be lit.
forgettable in English.
Yeah, no,
It will
he's
be
a great
lit.
performer.
He'll smash it.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
It-
I do think in some way, shape, or form he might bring out Wayne because of the like that. Because they sample the same song.
He loves Wayne though. Like he's a Wayne stan.
mm,
Exactly, exactly. So he may bring out Wayne just for that moment, and it'll be like, okay, cool. But in terms of the performance, I'm really excited to see what he does. Because even the pop out, I was a bit pessimistic about it because I was thinking to myself, okay, what are you gonna do on a pop out?
Mm.
Like,
no, the pop
you
out was
know,
perfect. But
it
that's
was
that's
amazing.
that's where my biggest frustration comes because I just felt like it was such an odd move. Everything you've done up to this point, I can't fault. Like I'm genuinely impressed. I guess he was allowed to stumble at some point. This for me was his first misstep.
There's times
This
though.
song.
There's time. Like at the end of the day, like you'd assume there'd be something coming. Maybe if it's a project, maybe
Oh,
it's
100%.
so
I'm not. I think a single's on the way. Um, but I just felt it was an odd
It has
choice.
to be on the way. It has to be on the way, man. Because the thing is, he's dropped um he's leaked a bunch of songs already, and all of them are, to some extent, really good songs.
Mm,
Then on top of that, um, they said they had an album ready. That album I don't think is coming out. I probably think he's making another album. So, I mean, especially because you're doing the Super Bowl, you really want to be the guy at the top. So
yeah.
drop whatever you can, and I think that's what's going to happen. And but I've never seen a run like this. This run is absolutely incredible in every way, shape, or form.
I
Um,
can't fault it except for this recent mishap for me. But other than that, it's been perfect.
and I can completely understand. I can completely understand because it's like if that's not your type of music, then fair enough,
But
innit?
I
Like,
often put myself in the position of if they were my brethren, what would I say? I would say, don't drop that single. Like, just don't give that any more energy. You won. You just announced the biggest announcement of your career in the best way possible. That was so sick, so slick. The video was perfect. I'm not even trying to glaze, but it just was, I just felt
no,
like it
I'm
was a
kind of
misstep.
glazed. I'm going to glaze. That was phenomenal.
That's the name of the episode.
I'm going to Glaze is crazy.
Oh my goodness. That's insane. Hey, how about it? Um, but yeah, no, rare misstep. I don't want to see him disappear for so long. I think that's a gripe for me. You're part of the problem when you do disappear. The game is better when you're here. Part of the reason I feel things have just got so out of hand to the point that you need to address it is partly because of your disappearance. So the two go hand in hand. Just want to see some accountability there.
Yeah, okay. I hear it.
Anyway, I guess last topic for today, and I think it's the perfect place to end. AJ v Triple D. Triple D is crazy.
Hey man,
You get how
listen,
you live, Daniel.
that boy is Lenny from Massa Man because he got
Mm.
hands. He got them hands.
Yeah,
You gotta be
man.
careful around them, man.
Yo, he slapped up AJ, bro. I can't believe what I saw. Thing is, it's not that it was always gonna go that way, but there was always I don't know, my old barber who I had at Southgate, like he used to be really into boxing. I think I told you about him, man. I said if
Mm.
there's any two people I want to have a conversation, it's you and my barber, because this guy he's lit. Anyway, he said to me, because when I was living there, we were talking about the if Fury and AJ would ever fight. And he said to me, because he's been a boxing fan since he was young, and he said to me, one thing people don't clock nowadays is that sometimes boxers just age while they're literally in the ring. And like, when he said it to me at the time, I didn't really pay any two minds really. When I watched the Fury and Ngannou fight, I was just looking at Fury and I was like, this guy's he just looks a bit slower. Like maybe
Yeah,
like just a tad. And that's literally sometimes all it takes for you to like lose that hunger and lose not the hunger because the hunger's there, but your body just can't really sustain that level you once did. And then
Mm,
just to see AJ, obviously,
he's done. He's got to retire.
Triple D is like
If you
27
love
years
him,
old, so it's against a younger man. But like you could just see it because like
yeah.
his hands were low the whole fight. He was just the game plan went out the window as soon as that first bang connected, and that bang was disgusting. I've not seen any.
oh God,
I'm
do you see his
surprised that AJ
face?
actually managed to continue to fight after that punch. You know, like that's actually really impressive. I thought that would concuss at
He
99
was
point.
concussed. You can't tell me he wasn't. I don't know how he had some awareness because in the fifth round he does land a nice clean jab on Daniel, but it wasn't enough. And then because he came out swinging, it's what led to his downfall. There was no defense.
His
Man was at Maguire.
arms were so
He was at
low.
Maguire in 2020.
He's McGuire.
Oh.
Don't give that man slack. He's still ass. Yeah, man. Yeah. Like that quote was living in my head as I was watching it, but to see it was painful, man. Like
It was
he
sad to
he got
see.
slapped.
5 rounds is nothing as well. You probably barely got out of fifth gear, or you barely got out of first. It looked like light work for Daniel as well. That's not what you want to see.
Yeah, man. What do
My
what do you
thing
think,
is,
man?
um, I spoke to my guy Nathan, and pretty much what I said to him was, I think it's a 50-50 fight. He was like, no, AJ's gonna done him, da 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 da. And like, to be fair, it was a case where it was like, you make a great case. And the reason why I said it was a 50-50 fight is because if you look at AJ's last three fights, which was, I can't remember the brother's name, but the guy from
He
the
fought
That
States.
Nordic,
Then
Ngannou.
that Nordic Donny.
there was Helenius, then there was Ngannou. Those fights were confidence boosters for AJ in order to become a better version of himself.
Mm.
Because you just lost twice. I mean, you lost to Andrew Ruiz, then you came back, then you lost twice to Usyk,
Usyk.
and that was a phenomenal display by Usyk. Fair play to him. So he really did go all the way. But those past three fights, I wouldn't say that they were top tier. I would say you would have to go off for another two fights for me to be confident in AJ in order to perform.
Mhm.
However, you look at the last three fights of Daniel Dubois, brother. Like there's Hergovich. No, I think it's Usyk. Then there's Baby Miller.
Yeah.
Then there's Hergovich. Baby Miller fight. We have a live reaction on that fight,
Yeah, yeah, we did.
and quite literally, I said that Daniel Dubois will not make it because one, I don't think he has the stamina to be fighting with a fat man like that. Like, and he's a fat man. He's a heavy man.
Yeah, I can't believe Baby Miller's allowed to fight. Like, I'm shocked. I didn't know
Come
he was
all
allowed
the
to be
way
that big.
up until 11th round. My man is really he's really giving the work, and he's actually showcasing that he can actually go all the way. And I was surprised. With the Usyk fight, it was like that one-off hit. I was like, okay, cool. But he still showcased that he can still go all the way. He quite
Mm,
obviously, I think maybe because he was in pain or whatever the case is, or I think he knows something that we don't know right now. And that's fine. Fast forward up until the Hergovich. Bro, Hergovich was the one who was supposed to come out on top. He came out like he got hit by five men. Like he was bleeding. His eye bust up, everything, and they just had to call the fight and say, "Nah, nah, it's done, bro. Like
bruh.
you gotta go home. You gotta kiss your wife, bro. Like all them things that, like it was done." So when I look at it now and I say, "Okay, cool. Look at the last three fights." You can clearly see that Daniel Dubois is at an all-time confidence,
Mm,
and AJ still needs to build. If I was Eddie Hearn, I would have said, you know what? let's just go for the cash, forget the belts. Yeah. Before the Daniel Dubois fight, I would have
Yeah.
said to him, go for Deontay Wilder, duppy him, then go for Big Baby Miller, duppy him. Then, if you really, 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 really want to, you can go for Joseph Parker. Because by the time Daniel Dubois and Usyk maybe go for round two, whatever the case is, maybe even Usyk will just retire after actually winning all the belts, and then
Mm.
that's it. Then
I
he's
wouldn't blame
done.
him.
Because AJ, Tyson Fury, and Usyk, they're all the same. They're all very much the same age. If not, one of them is 1 or 2 years older, whatever the case is, like give
Mm.
or take. But as Colin said, there is age, and these men are at their 30s, like their late 30s, and them man are not LeBron.
Nah.
You get what I'm saying?
It's not a
Mm.
Like you
sport you
get
can
to
be.
a point where it's like you can't compete at this level. And fair enough, like Kobe Bryant, he understood that he can't be fast anymore, so he has to then find a way in order to play that to adapt to a game that is for his age. And he did very well.
Mm.
He was successful at it. But these men have to understand that this is boxing. And the worst thing of all of this is the fact that this is heavyweight, which means anything can happen. So with all of that, I just had to say to myself, this is a 50-50 fight, and I don't know about it. Then shout outs to Deej. He was watching the fight and he said, AJ looks stiff, pause. And looking at AJ, it's like he's not gonna succeed. Then we come to find out fifth round, you can't get up. And
Landed on his neck.
yeah,
That
man.
was rough to watch. Him trying to stand back up, doing it for Little Saint was crazy. Pump it up
Yeah.
type beat.
Stump the yard, bro. Stump the yard.
That, oh man. It's sad to see him go out like that.
It's very sad to see him go out like that because we've championed him for a long time, and
Mm.
really and truly he's been the face of boxing. But in terms of boxing in itself, I am very, very satisfied with the result, simply for the fact that this is boxing. It's going to create great conversation. It's going to bring in new fans, or educate the new fans. Like anything can
Mm.
happen in boxing, and that's what's brilliant. Because beforehand, I never really used to watch boxing until AJ stepped up to the plate. And I was like, oh, okay, this is something.
Yeah, same.
And um, I'm very thankful for him because like we can't take away his legacy. But at this current moment in time, best thing for you to do is chase the bag, do a very good job, and then leave on a high note. Because otherwise, you end
Mm.
up like Derek Chisora, who keeps telling Eddie Hearn, "I'm gonna bang you in the face if you don't pay me right." And even Derek Chisora, he's a great boxer, but he needs to just hang it up. Because right now he is like great for British boxing, but I just want him to leave on a high note. Whereas
Mm.
AJ, he needs to do something where he needs to strategically place his future in a way that makes sense
His legacy.
for his financial career, legacy, because that's all he's been chasing. He's been chasing legacy, but right now he had majority of the belts. Well done to him. Just move on, bro. If you can
Mm.
go for the belts, go,
They're not going
but
to let him
only
go
on
for
the
the belts
basis that
again, then
you're.
surely.
He probably could, because if Daniel Dubois wins all the belts, then it might be a
That ain't
case where he can
happening.
go again.
Let's see. Let's see. I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah,
I'm very
yeah,
Phil. I don't think he'll lose. But then what do I know?
yeah.
You never know, man. Good to see.
Mm, we'll see. We'll see. All right. Main Chapter Podcast, episode 259. Until next time.
Have you got any music?
Ooh, as bad
Um,
as that mixtape was, Oath from Future.
I'm gonna say Summer 24 by Benny Butcher. And Summertime Butch.
I don't know if this song is on the playlist already, but Fez did a sweep.
Do, do, do,
Great
do.
song.
What an incredible song.
Yeah, he's him.
Yeah.
All right, until next time. Peace.
Take care, guys. All right. Stop recording.